Welcome back, YouTube, fellow berserkers. Today we're going to go out in the forest and look for a Zunderschwamm, a horseshoe fungus. We're going to dissect it and take the layers off and show you which parts are usable to make tinder for flint and steel and how to prepare that with a lye solution. So let's go and see if we can find one. Well, there we have an excellent example of the horseshoe fungus, also called Tinder Fungus, or in German Zunderschwamm. The Latin name is Fomes Fomentarius. I'll blend that in at the bottom of the video for you. And we've searched for about 30 minutes and we had finally found one, and it's actually a really nice one. It's really huge. I'm going to go over to the tree and I'm going to pry it off of the tree stump. That tree's been dead for quite a while. And we're going to take it down to the Viking camp, which is actually just down below. And we went all the way around to find it right here. So let's hop over there and pry it off the tree, and then we'll get a close-up. All right, I'm over here at the tree stump. Let's jump over the ditch there. I almost fell on my face. This is a huge example of the horseshoe tinder fungus, and normally they are extremely tough to get off the tree. You really have to pry. Sometimes you use that's why I brought my axe. You have to get behind it and chop it off the tree like that. This tree has been dead for quite a while. As you see, it's been chopped off and it's already rotten. We'll make a nice surface to work on though. And actually, now that we have a good look at this, it's actually two, and there's another one growing on the side right here with a piece of thorn sticking out of it, which is pretty neat. We don't need that. Now we have three tinder funguses on one stump. That's awesome. You'll find quite often that these grow all up the tree. Now you're going to find horseshoe tinder fungus most commonly on birch trees. Now you do find them on beech trees, on cherry trees, and sometimes on oaks, but that's very rare. The main tree that you'll find these fungus on is a birch tree, and they're super common. They're very, very easy to spot. You can tell by they have like a hard top here, and the bottom of it is a nice white opaque color, and you quite often will come across these when they're already rotten. So this one on the back here is starting to rot just a little bit, but it's still got good enough substance for us to actually go and process it. So we're going to take this down to the Viking camp and take one of these apart and get it all ready to go and boil it in some lye solution. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second when we get back down to the camp. So here we are back at the Viking camp. I've got it all set up here for you to explain what I have. So on the mushroom, important to observe is that the only part that we can use for this for tinder is a thin section under this hard crust right here. Now I've dissected the smaller one so I can show you exactly what I mean. Here, right underneath this hard hat, there is a brown fuzzy material, and that's what we need. That is the trauma, we call that here. It's the section of the mushroom that actually catches spark. Now all of this other material here, they're like little straws, they have to come off. All of this has to come off. And you have to separate all of that and carve off all of the material off the top as well, so you have a nice thin piece of it's like a sponge when you're done, like a fuzzy sponge. So then you have the raw material to put in the lye solution, so you could boil that and make it more flammable. It absorbs nitrates. Now I've heard of people using all kinds of different methods. They're using some kind of other chemicals, and some people say you can pee on it, which is disgusting, and I don't think it will work, and it would probably smell really disgusting as well when you try to go and light your fires. So I tried this previously, and it works really well with the ashes. So you have to use ashes from a tree that has leaves, not a pine tree or such. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna spend the next hour or so carving off all of these layers that we don't need. You can see here, this is what we need right here. This is the trauma. I don't know if the camera will focus, I can't see. So we're gonna have to get down to this all the way around there and then dissect it so that we have a nice large piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll get back with the filming when I get all that work done. Okay, what I have here now is some ashes. I'm gonna place those on the fire. Okay. I'm going to add all of the mushroom pieces that I have cleaned out off of the pieces that we have harvested today, and throw them in this solution and let them boil for about 30 minutes. And we're going to take them out and dry them. So after a couple of days, I still have a bunch of the actual mushroom that we used and boiled in lye is still drying. Fortunately, I've done that exact same experiment a couple of weeks ago, and I have some prepared so that we can finish this experiment. Yeah, one tiny spark from the flint and it actually caught right here. So that piece we're going to tear off, and we're going to try again. I'm going to cut a fresh piece out of this here. You can get the camera to focus in, right there. I'm going to cut a fresh piece out of right here, and we're going to try with a fresh cut piece. Actually, I can just pull this off. It's nice and soft section right here is exactly what you want, with the fuzzy material out of underneath of the hard hat of the mushroom. Right underneath of here, this fuzzy material. If you can see it, there you go, right there. It's like a brown, almost looks like brown cloth. So we're going to try this again using the fresh piece of Tinder fungus that I just harvested this just about an hour ago, right off of the tree. So we're going to try that. If I could find my flint that I just had in my hand. Let's try an appropriate piece of flint to see if this experiment is going to work. It's really difficult to try to get the flint and the Tinder fungus in the right position. I think I'm going to tear off a smaller piece and try this way. So the Tinder fungus, freshly picked off the tree, it will not ignite. Now I have a piece of dried Tinder fungus. I'd like to try that out first as well. I'm going to cut a piece off of here. We're going to try using a piece of dried Tinder fungus and see what the results are now after we have a nice dry piece. It might give us a different result, so let's give that a try. To make sure I'm not doing this completely wrong, this is the piece of Tinder fungus that immediately caught spark. So let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. The Tinder fungus, I've determined now, I've come to the conclusion that the nitrated Tinder fungus actually burns quite well versus the Tinder fungus that has not been processed. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to go put it out so I can reuse it. So we came to the conclusion now that it does a great difference if you actually boil this in lye solution, which is kind of disappointing because I was hoping I didn't have to do that. Based on this experiment, Tinder fungus works absolutely awesome when you nitrate it. In that condition, it now burns the best. Just a quick follow-up. Tinder fungus grows mostly on birch trees. Birch trees are easy to identify. They have the birch bark that is white. It's the easiest tree to recognize by its bark. And they usually grow right on the side. So they grow extremely well to the trees, and you really have to take a prying tool, an axe, or sometimes you can beat on them here, but you really have to work on them a little bit to get them off the trees most of the time. So it's good to always have like a tool with you, an axe or a knife or something like that, a prying tool. I've used large rocks or large pieces of wood to knock them loose, but that's how, this is the basic idea here. They grow on the tree like this, and sometimes they even grow when the tree is fallen down, then they'll grow like sideways like this over here. You'll see these growing near the ground a lot of times. What you want to make sure is that when you pick your Tinder fungus, it's not black and all soggy, and that means it's already died, it's already lived its lifetime, and the mushroom is no good. So that'll be all for today. I hope you enjoyed this experiment. I learned something, and I hope you did too, and I hope if you try it, you also have success. Filming this video today, it's the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. I do not celebrate Christmas Eve, I celebrate Yule, but I wish all of you dearly that are watching this who celebrate Christmas a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a great time with your friends and family and loved ones and dogs, and that, you know, that's part of the family actually. Dogs, what am I saying? And for us Vikings out there, have a happy Yule, or good Yule. I don't know if I said that right. I don't know. I'll try my best. Yeah, and like always, stay safe and see you soon.